I should make a mess of
Yeah.
it. Okay, that's now.
Oh no, it's not there.
Everything should be fine with that, didn't it? So make sure, just in case you have to see it, I said on that one, that's
Right, good morning everybody. Thank you for coming and arriving early. So the quiet summer school holiday road, an absolute pleasure. We are recording, but none of you are in it. Face to face. Oh, just talk about me really. So no, it's just so that the screen. So we put this on the Evergreen Active YouTube channel afterwards. If you want to share it or rewatch it, that will be where it is. So a couple of things. I don't want anybody to be alarmed. There has been sightings of some yellow ball thing in the sky. I've done some research. It's actually apparently to be expected at this time of year, but I know we haven't seen it for a little while. But it's perfectly normal, so don't be worried about that. I've not been advised of any fire drills, so if there is one, we'll shoot out of there. And toilets are just straight down the end of the corridor and take night. So obviously you don't need to raise a hand, just go if you need to go. So thank you very much. Two great speakers this morning. Over here, this is going to be an accident waiting to happen, isn't it? Okay, so before we do that, so they're not in the room, but I just wanted to say thanks to St Mary's. The room hire is very, very reasonable. If anybody wants to have a quick look at the other facilities that are available and have a word with them at reception, lovely, lovely ladies, very, very helpful. So we're going to have a very quick, just your name and your organisation, so that Julia and Joe know who they're talking to. Really looking forward to both of these presentations, and then afterwards we will have a little bit more of a detailed, if you want to speak about something in particular, and also keen to hear from anybody who's one of the VCSE voices sitting on other boards and strategic panels around the district, just to give us an update on those, any kind of successes, barriers, things that you have that you could lend, things that you need that we could support you with, or point you in the right direction. And then it'll just be any other business and next meeting. So I'll go first. So I'm Paula Appleton, co-director of Evergreen Active CIC and co-chair of, it's not invisible, my business partner also has a proper job, so he's having to do that this morning, but myself and Andy Freeman normally co-chair these Connecting Wakefield meetings. So that's me, so start.
Morning everybody, I'm Amy Hardman from Featherstone Rovers Foundation.
Hi, morning, I'm Maddie from Blossom Training and Development. I'm also a VCSE voice on the Safer Together Partnership Board.
I'm Debbie Gittins, I'm Strategic Health for Learning Disabilities, work for Swift, but work with primary care.
I'm Ross, I work for Wakefield Sector and I'm also part of the VCSE Voicing Project on the People Panel.
Hi, I'm Olivia Young and I work in community education at the British Red Cross.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Ratcliffe. I'm one of the stroke support coordinators for the Stroke Association Stroke Recovery Service in Wakefield.
I'm Jo Dunford. I'm the Wellbeing Community Lead for Prince of Wales Hospice in Portugal.
Hi, I'm Bridget Gill. I'm from Spectrum People, but I also, it isn't part of the Noble one, but I am the Wakefield rep on the Harnessing the Power of Communities West Yorkshire VCSE group.
That's catchy.
Yeah. The power of communities.
Like it.
My name is Elizabeth Smith, I work for Touchstone and I am new to post as a daytime worker for the Wakefield Safe Space.
I'm Jill Gaffrey, I'm also new to Poston area and I'm opening, mobilising the Wakefield Community Services Outreach Team, the Wakefield Community Enablement Team.
Hi, I'm Victoria Cleo Cohen. I also work for Touchstone in the Wakefield Community Enablement Team with Jill.
I'm John Pearson. I also work for Touchstone Community Enablement Team. I'm very new. We just started about just nearly 2 weeks ago, so I'm very much new to this.
And thank you guys for offering to host us next time as well.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Neeraj from Reflections Yorkshire CRC. We provide a drug and alcohol treatment for adult males, residential daycare, and we do a lot of early intervention diversion work for young people now. I'm also a trustee of GASP that works with male victims and survivors of domestic abuse and sexual violence.
Hi, I'm Judith Russell. I'm Chair of Disability Sport Yorkshire, and we also now have a sister organisation which runs Denhale Active Recreation Centre, not far from the middle of Wakefield. I'm here because all the staff team are out there in the community working, so I'm representing them today.
I'm Julia Charlton. I'm the Business Communications and Engagement Lead at Adult Social Care at Wakefield Council.
I'm Craig Wilkinson. I'm a volunteer support worker and sports leader at Reflections Yorkshire.
Joe Corker, the project manager for the Wakefield Mental Health Alliance.
Teresa Radley, and I am Vice Chair of Care to Talk. We're a mental health support group, and we're at St Mary's every Friday.
I'm Joanne Mills. I'm project coordinator, work alongside T for Care to Talk. We're based here off 11 to half 1 every Friday.
It was so great to see so many new faces here today as well, so thank you very much. I think sort of the idea of moving around the district, it's actually quite useful, isn't it, to enable people, as many people, to come when they can. So thank you for that, and I'll hand straight over to Julia. I think I can just
I'll start talking. So my role is Business Communications and Engagement Lead at Adult Social Care. It's the first time I've ever worked outside of the voluntary sector. I started my career in Wakefield for Groundwork Wakefield over 20 something years ago, and then worked for Bradford Voluntary Sector, different charities. So I've just come back to Wakefield and I'm at the council, so I just want to say I feel very at home here. And I think what I'm going to talk about, like when we've done refresh this website, my first inkling was I need to make links with the voluntary sector to make this work. Without you guys, this is not going to work. So once we've got this set up, you just connect to support.
Yeah. Well done. It's got it on the other browser. I don't know what's happening.
So some of you may have seen this. Historically, it's been around for many years apparently. I came into post just less than a year ago and discovered that we'd paid up front for quite a long for the Connect to Support website, and it wasn't being used at all in any way. So we've refreshed it around November last year, and the website is for people who are accessing adult social care and for their unpaid carers as well. So we've worked really closely with the Citizens Panel, which I'm going to talk about separately, a plug for them, to think about what people with all kinds of conditions and disabilities might want to see, and what information carers might want to see as well. So really it's a website of signposting to other resources across the district. Although at Wakefield Council I'm the person that's sort of putting this together, I really want it to be sort of a signposting for all sorts of resources. And as you can see, we've got I'll start from the top. So we've got I am a carer, I need information on social care, I want to refer myself or someone to adult social care, I want to connect with others, and I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. We have banners that are kept quite up to date, where I really invite you, I'm going to give my details, if there's something you want to plug, send it to me. If it fits under the umbrella of adult social care, which is wider than what I think people initially think, I will pop it on there. And then we've got some little boxes at the bottom which can direct you to certain areas. One of the things that the Citizens Panel wanted to achieve, which we've just started doing, is different care pathways. So if someone has dementia, for example, they can click on there and it takes you through each stage of the condition. So we're signposting throughout. So this is if I'm worried, diagnosis. But we've separated living well and supporting well. So living well, we're trying to say about those necessary things that you might need to put in place if you've got dementia or you're caring for someone with dementia. And then supporting well is all the groups that can help you across the district enjoy your life and keep independent. So there's something that we definitely want to develop further. So if you guys are working with people again that you think that might want a specific care pathway, I'm really open to hearing from people and about how we can develop this further. Our next one is that we've just, I've not published it, but it's virtually, is the hearing impairment pathway. So we've been working with partners to develop that as well. So again, just feed in. That's going to be my message. Is I'm going to leave my details. Let me know.
Can I ask a question? Sorry,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested because those are all pathways which are recognised and set up through health.
Yes.
But actually, kind of the voluntary sector has its own pathways.
Right.
And I was just thinking, because we always look at the medical model, and actually to have something from a social model point of view is almost, you don't have to put, I mean obviously if you've got one, but just thinking from a mental health point of view, just a wellness point of view, having something on there which was a different way of looking at it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I'm not sure how you
No, I'm
do
not
it,
sure.
But just the idea of it could be quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. The next stage that we were wanting to develop of this, I'm just going off a little bit, but that's maybe a conversation, was we've got some functionality in the back end which was, you can almost tag yourself. I'm having problems with this, I'm having problems washing myself, I'm having problems with getting out of bed, and it gives different signposts to different
Or having problems getting out of the house.
Yes, yes. So that might be a place where we could have that conversation and tie that in. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
just
No, it's good.
teasing ideas out.
No, and that's what I want this to be. So we have, I'll take it back from the homepage, a directory of organisations. I want to connect with others or find services from community organisations. And this is the area that I really want to grow. I'll talk you through the functionality at the moment. So people can search. There's various, there's various tags that you can search through. So I'm going to go for help for people with, well, it doesn't really make sense, but carer. And then you can, all of the results pop up there, and you can see on a map, or you can put a postcode in. I'm going to make that bigger because I know there's not one in there. And a pop-up. And what you can do then is you can go into each of that organisation. If you're working with people where you wanted to signpost things to, and you can create a favourites list. So I'm just going to do that with a couple. And I'll not hammer this home too much, but you can then go to my favourites. You can share your favourites, so you can email someone. That will generate an email. We think this would be good for you. Or you can create a PDF booklet. And and that booklet will allow you to say who it's from and send a little message to that. And those favourites work across every page, so every section you can pull that together. So if you wanted some information as an unpaid carer, you can go into respite, get that information, and then put that along some of the organisations. So to add yourself to the directory, this is the little bit that I'm just working with some developers because it's hidden a little bit. Create your listing, but it is there. So you can create your listing, pop your information there. Directory name is the name that you want to be shown on the directory. Sometimes that's different to the organisation. So if you're doing a specific club on a Thursday, you can pop that in there. And then you can tick who it is for, when you are open, etc. And then you can upload an image and your logo.
Did anybody else know about this?
No.
No.
That's completely new.
It has just been me. So I was this is being videotaped. My managers
It's alright, nobody watches.
basically said this is dead in the water, Julia. If you want to have a go at refreshing it. And it was. The previous website was. So I've had a go, and the traction it's gone really. They're really happy with the hits. I think it's something like 400 times the hits than it was previously. So now I've got a part-time person to support me with this. So this is the first. We just want to get people involved, make people
Over
aware.
what period of time is that? Is that like a month or something?
No, that's it was relaunched in November, and so since then it's graduated. The last 3 months have been up. Yeah, I've not got the stats quite in my head. But
There's cumulative, it's been right.
yeah. So they're happy enough to then give me someone and a promise now that we're going to reinvest in this and try and make this work. There's other conversations which I hope might happen, that we can spread this out to public health and to communities and just make it grow. We'll see how good it is. Nova are on board and they're sending me organisations that are successful for their grants. So we're starting uploading them onto the directory as well. But it's not perfect, and I want to hear from you when it's not perfect and what's not working and usability, because we can change it to the best of my ability. We can change it.
And you said it's got quite a long shelf life.
It has, yeah.
Okay.
We've got some money behind it, yeah.
Okay.
So you say the directory name can be for a project rather than the organisation?
Absolutely.
Does that mean
yes.
that we would have accepted we could end up putting multiple entries?
If you think that is specific enough that someone is looking for a different group on a Wednesday, I can't think, they want to play tennis, if that is very specific enough to something else, yes, absolutely.
Well, just an example, so we got male sport for addiction,
Yeah.
but then we got early intervention for young people.
Absolutely, they're
So
two
they're
different things.
completely different.
Yeah.
There could be different activities or different venues.
Yeah.
So, but in the end,
Could
you
work
can
really
put
well.
the venue and the times and
Yeah.
the date for each one.
Right, okay.
Does it? I'm just thinking whether it would work for one-offs. It possibly wouldn't
No.
know so much. It's where something is an existing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends
Yeah.
how long your project is.
Yeah. And yeah.
So obviously, many of us get funded projects, so it might be for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months, a year, whatever it might be. So they would be all right to go on.
They would absolutely be all right to go on. I would ask that people try and remember to take those off. But in
I would
reality,
just think that's the question I'm going
in
to ask,
reality,
because the
yeah.
short-lived often are these projects.
Yeah.
And people will find them after the
Yeah.
the event and then kind of no, it's finished,
No.
sorry, no more funding.
So yeah.
But the
I'm
great
wondering
thing
if
is
there's
we
a
do
way
it
you can
ourselves.
put a start and a finish date and it would naturally
Yes.
That would be
drop
a
off.
really good idea.
Because I know I was at a Nova meeting and there was something, I don't know if it was this specific, there was something similar and they said there was a directory but it didn't get kept up to date and you'd go on and
Different
it'd fit, yeah, it's a different thing, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to end up being that thing.
No.
This sounds a really good idea.
I think that's a really good idea. I'll suggest that. I don't know why I've not suggested
Start
that
and end
before.
date.
The
But
start and end
also,
dates would be.
my colleague who is permanent, as I've already, she's 2 weeks, and I've asked her every 6 months to pull the spread, to pull it. She's just doing it now for the first time. So she's going to pull all the organisations off, go through everything, and email them saying, is this still up to date?
Yeah.
And then we can support that a little bit as well.
So I think we've had one of those emails, but I didn't realise that this is what it looked like.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much so. I think it's brilliant.
So our group that's long running, and we could put it on because it happens every week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you'll get is probably twice a year just an email saying, is this still up to date? Is it still running? Ignore this if it is.
And sometimes you'll get something that comes up that might just be a one-off and it's finished, but that'd be quite good if you could set it off
If
to
you're-
just drop off.
Yeah.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, that would
And if
be
people are
good.
following you like in the favourites, it might come up with an alert maybe.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it
that's a
being,
good shout,
you're
actually,
feeling
if
you've
you
enjoyed
engage with it.
something, because
Yeah.
often you'll get people there and say, oh, is that it? It's like, yeah, sorry, I'll let you know when there's more, but if they can follow you and
It could
have
be
a
really useful for
favourites.
funding bids as well.
Yes,
because
it could.
If you could show that people really wanted
And they're
it to
following you,
continue,
you're a
yeah.
favourite, they're waiting for something new to come.
Right.
Could help with
But
this,
is there
definitely.
a kind of vetting of what's uploaded? Because I mean, obviously we're all very honourable, but.
What services are you putting on that file?
I'm told
I mean,
my
you know, you've got to
colleagues-
diversify, haven't you? You know?
The vetting is quite laid back. We've not had anything really abusive yet. We've had some people just putting their name in. So it's me and my colleague, and it's just using our common sense. Is this loosely what it should be for? Will people find this useful? Yeah, so that's the vetting really. It's us just checking. It's not abusive.
But it's great that we have the control to update it, because that's the thing that usually you don't.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that would be really helpful. Yeah.
Would you share the data on the hits on each page?
That's the problem. That's what I'm about to say. Is the one thing we can't get is I can get if people have clicked on you, but I can't get those just results showing every time that someone's found you in a search.
You would need to do that as a concerted marketing campaign, wouldn't you, and then be able to sort of follow the hits. But I guess what you could do is when you upload your project, it'll create a specific link to that page, and then you share that link, I guess.
Yeah, you can share that one page, but yeah.
And you can input your logos, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So-
I've seen a few.
One of the ways it's just being used is, I don't know if you know, but the Meals on Wheels contract ended at Wakefield Council, and no one had anywhere to signpost what was happening. So we created a community meals tag, and we've got people who are delivering community meals on there. So that was just a couple of weeks ago. So that was a use of it. So if there's anything like that as well, we can kind of we can theme things as well if we want to push things out, which is quite helpful.
And where do you, where is this promoted on social media at all, or is it in?
So it's linked on the adult social care pages of Wakefield Council. What's just happening is I've just asked our corporate communications team if they will create it as one of the priorities. So I'm hoping that's a yes. I've not got a yes yet, but you can only hope. So we've got some just general postcards and pop-up banners created. I'd be really, if anybody would take a pop-up banner and if they've got a centre, that would be really helpful to me to promote that. Same with postcards, etc. I've got lots, so if that'd be really helpful. That'd be amazing. Lovely, thank you.
I have shared your link with primary care, so that is going around the GP practices, but if I can get you a slot on the practice managers meetings, so that the social prescribers and people.
What would be really good, I mean, so I'm involved in the Airedale newsletter, which we've just got off the ground as an electronic one, and we managed to host it in which I was going to talk about later on, in the local schools trust, because actually schools they send out loads of stuff, that the GP practices, Tara and Elizabeth Court, have agreed that they will use their text system to send out the link to the Airedale. Now, if we could get all GP practices to do that, it would capture an awful lot of people.
Smile.
So, can you try that one with Connexus and people and see whether we can?
Yeah.
And when
Can you
you
email me what you're exactly wanting? Because I say I'm quite new to
Well,
knowing all of
so
this.
text messages from a GP practice have to be very limited in characters, and therefore it would only be the link. So it would be thinking about the words really carefully. Carer, need information, look at this link, or something like that, and then it would be the link to that.
I can't smile anymore. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So, thank
sorry, I'm just going to say as well, the other side of this is I'm going out to all the social worker teams to get out. They are going to be using this as part of their practice on a daily basis. So they will be using that favourites and signposting this for them to engage. I've lost the word, sort of the social prescribing type side of things as well. So hopefully that will help. Will you share my contact details?
Absolutely.
Paula? Yeah.
So if everybody's in agreement, let me know at the end. If you're not, when I do the follow-up, I just, everybody's emails in there, I don't BCC it or anything, and then if you do want to make connections, then
And for all the people who aren't here as well, because I think lots of people will be interested in that.
Yeah. So I've started kind of going back through people who've previously attended or calling me at other meetings saying, and then I send the incorrect link to book on. But hopefully having the funding page link twice was useful. But thank you so much
No,
for that,
that's
Jude.
amazing. I'm going to do a really quick
absolutely.
plug. The Health Watch Citizens Panel, it's run by the Health Watch, it's for adult social care specifically. If you're working with any people that you think might benefit from that, it's a really positive monthly group that it feeds into our SLT and our strategic plans for adult social care. So I've given you everyone a leaflet, it's just a plug that as well.
Thank you very much. Good. I think it's just a question of popping that cable in.
Fingers crossed. Feel like the technology works first time. Let's see. Wonderful.
Amazing.
I think that's the first time that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. I won't share our frantic email conversation from yesterday afternoon.
Wonderful. So, thank you all for your time today. Yeah, I'm Joe Cockham, Project Manager for the Wakefield Mental Health Alliance. And my responsibility is kind of a bit of data working for the Alliance. Who's familiar with the Alliance? Few people I knew already, excellent, but not a lot of you. Okay, so very briefly, the Wakefield Mental Health Alliance was set up to bring together mental health services across Wakefield to get a bit of cohesion, working together, some innovation, and helping take a focus off just the big statutory services like South West Yorkshire Partnership Trust, and go, okay, mental health is bigger than just going to secondary mental health care and getting care there. It's more on, the BCS sector, it's Mid Yorkshire Hospital, it's the ambulance service, it's occasional unfortunate police. It's a lot of services working together to deliver mental health better for everyone. So the core partnership is made up of organisations with a budget, but basically have a contract at least for over £100,000 to deliver mental health services in Wakefield. And we also have a few organisations who are conglomerates, such as the Positive Mental Health Network, who themselves don't have that much budget, but do represent a wide variety of other organisations who wanted them on board with their voice. We also have, over here as well, the Alliance Stakeholder Group, which runs quarterly and is set up for any organisation with any interest in mental health service at all to come up and have a discussion with us as well, and we kind of work on problems together. Bridget's hosted a couple of times and got us kicked off with that, which is helpful. But overall, our responsibility can be summed up as we get given the portion money from the NHS to spend on mental health, and we as a group decide how it's spent. Obviously, a lot of that goes into South West Yorkshire Partnership Trust because of the whole hospital on mental health, which takes a lot of money, but we also spread out to other organisations, which we've commissioned the Safe Space. We've supported various people around this room in funding some of their work, which is great, and the more we can get out to more people, the better. Obviously, it's not a lot of money compared to what we actually need and what we'd like to give out, but we do the best we can.
Can I just say, for the Positive Mental Health Network, because lots of you might be members of that, Tracy Leach, Lindsay Taylor Crossley from the Recovery College, and myself are the 3 reps that try to sit on it every time. So if ever you've got a question or a query about the Mental Health Alliance, then you can always ask us. And also with the stakeholder group, we look for a new chair every 2 meetings. So if anybody's ever interested, it's a really good development opportunity for you, and you get your organisation talked about a lot as well. So.
Do people contact you direct about that?
Yeah, either me, Tracy, or Lindsay.
Thank you.
So, as part of spending all the money on mental health services, we have obviously responsibility on what we spend it on. The NHS demands we have various targets we hit. So I'm briefly going to show the dashboard we have all that. This is the statutory services dashboard, one we created. Oh. He says. So yeah, we created this dashboard focusing on statutory services. It's basically focused on the things that basically NHS England hands down as you must do this with your money. You can do other things you want as well, but these things you have to do. So it's things like getting people seen through IAPT. It's another good example. So number of women accessing specialist community perinatal mental health services and all that kind of thing. So these things we have to deliver. Everything else we can do is a great bonus. So we had this dashboard created to give us oversight of the things we had to deliver. But we want to do more than that because, as I said, mental health services is more than just what we're ordered to deliver. There's all things that, for example, things you all deliver as well. And we wanted to have a similar dashboard displaying what the VCSE sector does, so that the people around the table who, stuck in very statutory services headspace get a better view of what the VCSE sector does, because we know that you do contribute a lot, you make vital impacts on the people of Wakefield and the district, and we want to be able to show that and demonstrate that and be able to talk about it in an informed way. So I won't go into too much detail on this, but basically we're asked to create a similar dashboard to the statutory service one without putting too much demands on yourself as well, because statutory services tend to have whole departments of people crunching data and have already huge requirements for delivering it, whereas yourselves might not. Certainly don't have big departments doing that kind of thing, so the idea is to make it easy for everyone to take part in, but to kind of get your voice better represented as well. Idea behind it as well is that we can help see where there are gaps in services, where we need to kind of, when it comes to investing in something new, it gives a better idea of where we need investing. Is there a particular area in Wakefield, or a particular group of people in Wakefield who we're missing out on? So that was part of the idea behind it. And at the bottom here it said, working to principle that our organisations should not be excluded if they cannot provide all the data requested. So I'll show you in a bit later the kind of things I ask for, but it's not, you have to fill in all these bits in order to take part. I'll go into a bit more detail of that in a little bit. So I commissioned by the Alliance. I started by interviewing some of the Alliance members, some statutory, some VCS, about what they thought should be in it. And we set up a small group of VCS organisations, which Jill was a part of, not sure anyone else in the room was as well, to kind of go, okay, what from your perspective do you want to get across? What do you think would be useful? And how do you make it easy for yourselves to contribute? And obviously there have been discussions since that first time to kind of review and improve things as we go along. We tried some things that didn't work, and it doesn't work, so we move on and do something better instead. The dashboard itself. And this is probably what we came up with. So there's a few bits of different bits of areas. So we've got up here the number of unique attendees by month, as well as the number of whole attendances each month. So you can see how kind of active each organisation is. And obviously the distinction between those two is you might get one person turning up 10 times, I might get 10 people turning up once, and that's trying to help give us a better picture of, yeah, some organisations serve a small group of people lots, some serve lots of different people, and we get that kind of distinction in there. We've tried to come up with a small number of terms which are kind of working but not quite there yet as well, of helping to say what kind of offers being given. So for example, we've got quite a lot of people being supported by therapeutic activities, and a small number of people being given that one-to-one practical support instead, which makes sense because you can do groups of people doing therapeutic activities, whereas one-to-one support is one-to-one and obviously a lot more time demanding. Page 2, we're trying to get a bit of demographic information. Obviously lots of demographic information is quite hard to get because you might not ask. Your organisation says people walk through the door and you don't write down who it is who's come to the door. We don't quiz them on their ethnicity or their age or religion, that side of things. But will people get information on kind of gender and occasionally age as well? And again, these aren't essential factors, but it does help give us a better picture of who's coming to get help, you know. So for example, got a huge spike in June of men coming through the door, but in general it's been fairly broadly consistent between male and female split. And sometimes it's just because the latest data hasn't been uploaded yet. There are bits that are missing, as you'll see. We've had gaps along the way, and we've tried to break down a bit of age as well. And then at the bottom we've got just a bit of highlight from each organisation, as for a sentence of this is what my organisation does. So when people are looking for this information goes, okay, this organisation is doing this, but who are they and what are they doing? You can have a quick sentence of this is what we're doing, and a quick sentence on kind of capacity situation as well, because if other organisations are looking at your organisation, that sounds fantastic. I've got 20 people I could send there. You've also got a space for a sentence going, oh yeah, we've got plenty of room, please send more people, or actually no, we're full, there's a huge 6 month long waiting list. So that no one's been sent somewhere that can't help them for the next 6 months and find someone more appropriate for instead. We just get that again, very high level. We want to have people giving precise details of, oh yes, we've got exactly this many spots, because it becomes a lot more effort. So you can give a sentence, what's the current situation on the ground, and work with that. And then final bit is just a bit of, this is activity across the Wakefield by postcode. Again, we're asked for the first part of the postcode for people coming through your door. Not everyone can provide that because that's not always information you collect. But we do, we can represent it here. We can see, you know, we can roughly see where there's huge numbers or big gaps. So, for example, we can highlight over in WF12, we've only got data on like eight people coming through the door compared to WF9, where I've had 166 166 people coming through the door. So, because we know this information isn't complete, we can't just go, oh, there's no one happening in WF2, you know, it's all happening in WF16. But it gives us space to go out to organisations, go, so is it that quiet over there? Is someone else looking after that? Or is there a huge gap that we're missing that we need to put in, you know, do we desperately need a service for the people there?
Again, what period is that data over?
This is over the whole period at the moment.
Right. Okay.
We can split it down to last month, in fact. I know. I won't try to do it on the fly, get messy. But we can split that down into months. One of my future projects is to map this across two populations, so it could be number of visits per 1,000 people in the area, or areas of deprivation. There's more that we can do and contribute to that.
So like a mapping.
Yeah.
Mapping different.
Yeah, use it for a bit more detail and a bit more information from the area rather than just the numbers.
It'd be interesting because, I mean, obviously you're doing it from a health point of view, but working with the local authority and their data on particularly suicides. Because you said, is there a gap there? There might not be the need.
Yeah.
It's that's the bit that it's kind of, and it's that kind of heat map idea behind
Yeah.
it. But I mean, we spent a long time thinking about this because the key thing is, how the heck do you get this data? Because we all collect it in different ways.
Yeah.
So we've tried to do it. Have you got the spreadsheet?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Fantastic.
Yeah. We can also, just because the software is a little bit on the fan side, it says breaking things. One of the things we want to be able to use as well is when your organisation contributing it to use it for your own needs as well. So if you come up to a you know, got plans for putting a bid forward, you can, you know, your data is here, nicely represented. We can just click on one of the organisations at this budget here with new spectrum people. So I just like to spectrum people, everything flows to just, that's, you know, a focus on that organisation.
And we've got two, because we've got our pub trees separately.
Yeah.
Because so it's kind of, you can think about how it's best as an organisation to give that information. So we do it in different ways for the two inputs that we've got.
Yeah.
So is there kind of a pro forma that we could use?
That's what we've tried to do.
Okay.
And that's why we came up with that term therapeutic activity, because that kind of covers a lot of what we all do. Whereas the in-depth bit about, are you giving some real crisis support or actually leaving suicide avoidance? And we've tried to come up with terminology for each of those, because we realise that we all do different things. I think you had 120 different suggestions originally.
At first, yeah. At first was asked, you know, I wasn't going to give everyone their own terms for the kind of support I provided, because you all going to use different terms. So we just said, use whatever term you want. Then we sat down and bashed out between the 6 of us and kind of narrowed it down to 5 terms instead that we thought covered everything reasonably nicely. Again, we'll review that in a few months down the line as more people contribute to see if that does actually fit or we change again. But this is how I've asked people to ideally submit their data. It's just for each line, it's an individual.
So that's Man Matters, isn't it?
Yeah. Though again, I've mixed the information up, so it doesn't actually represent the real person. The date, the month they came in, the first part of their postcode, I don't do the whole postcode, it's far too precise. Support provided, and again, that's from a drop-down list of 5 different activities. The age and the gender. Again, so it's all just feeds into the dashboard we've got here. We did try looking at as well reasons people attended, but that became far too messy as a thing, so we took that out as being over complex, not giving us anything useful because of the number of reasons people came in and again had to collect. So we can focus that with case studies and things instead.
Just looking at the attendees, so is that attendee data each individual instance somebody has attended?
Yes.
So like MM127, could it appear multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's attendance, not the individual.
Right.
Yeah. And that way we can pick out, again, it's the whole question of, is one person turning up 10 times or 10 different people turning up? And again, you might not know that, you might not record that kind of level of detail, and that is fine. I'll work with whatever you give me.
What we do is so say apple tree and within Spectrum people, we will know the name of the individual, but when we send it to Joe,
Yeah.
we'll anonymise it.
Yeah.
So that postcode then, that's attributed to the individual rather than the location of where the project's actually run, so that's their postcode.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, therapeutic activity. We've got running and walking groups in Ossett Harbour and Wakefield. They're not there specifically for mental health purposes, but we know that they have a positive impact, of course. And I could give you monthly figures on covering all of that apart from individual postcodes. I can give you the postcode of where the activity takes place. And that's volunteer led, so it's not being funded by anybody. All of that, gender, age. Is that something that I can start providing you with?
Yeah. I mean, the idea behind this was really the Mental Health Alliance dashboard looks at all of the data that's from the public sector. It doesn't see any of what we do.
Yeah.
And
Which is why,
this is a way to show it, and it's actually in our interest to do that.
Which is exactly why.
To prove what we do. And
I was like, Joe.
So just going back to just Paula, so if you can't give the postcode individual, you can give it the location, you're gonna have to attribute your main location to the individual.
So you're better off not submitting a postcode then. So if it's going to look like you're doing everything in one, which is where you're delivering it. So if you don't know the postcode of where they live, just leave them.
The design is to work as, down to the bare bones. I mean, one organisation just gives me, I've had 60 participants this month, this kind of activity, and all female, because it's a female group, and that is fine. That also works.
Bridget, what you just said though, that would skew the heat map idea though.
So there will be a lot which won't have a postcode.
Yeah.
So the heat map can only look at whatever has got that.
It's never going to be very precise unless you all suddenly start asking a lot more questions and doing a lot more data work with individuals, which is unrealistic.
We don't know. But the idea was as well, not just to show how much the VCSE sector does, but also to show where we keep somebody safe, and actually they may be, I mean, you're never going to know the name, but the numbers of times that we're holding somebody, and that there maybe is not a call on the NHS at all. So it's just to kind of get some kind of a feel for that. We also now, we've got 2 volunteers who all they do is befriending calls, and there are a lot of those, and actually it's still a therapeutic activity. One of my trustees for the last 3 years has phoned the same person every Sunday for half an hour, never met them, but knows that that's had a significant effect on that individual. And it's kind of how we capture that.
Yeah. Can we include our data? So this goes back to the young people, so we support young people who attend inclusion.
Yeah. We've got young people.
Right, okay, so it can be anything that we're actually doing, which is right, okay.
I'll take all the data you'll throw to me, it's great.
What we've tried to do sometimes is if somebody we don't know an age, we'll try and put an age group in, so you've got a bit of a feel.
Yeah, guesses are absolutely fine. But yeah, there will be gaps, especially around postcodes, and that's okay because we're never going to leap to conclusions and look at the map and go, oh no, that's exactly what's happening in the world. We must trust that because that's what the map says. It's okay, well, that's what the map says. Let's go out to the organisation and go, does that sound right? Do we have this massive gap for 18-year-old girls in WF2 that we need to focus on? And someone might say, oh no, my organisation is taking care of that, that's fine, sorry, I haven't been part of uploading data. Cool, that's fine. Or if everyone goes around and go, yeah, there's a big gap there. Cool.
It's really interesting because I was at a meeting last week from the council, and there was a spike in the Airedale area, and they were kind of saying why, and 2 of us around the table were like, well, that was when we know there were a lot of suicides in that area.
Yeah.
So you intuitively, we will know why some things happen. But it's but as Joe says, you'd never use it just on its own.
No.
But I mean, at every mental health alliance meeting, the dashboard gets a slot. And what we hope to be able to do is, yes, you see the public sector stuff, but what's happening in the voluntary sector?
Yeah.
And it just then evidences. And we're the only place in West Yorkshire that's doing this. So it's kind of that's me with my West Yorkshire hat on.
Yeah.
Harnessing the power of communities, because I talk about this at a West Yorkshire level and say it's great, but it's still in its infancy, and it would be lovely to see more data.
Yeah. So please do get involved. Please do send me the data in. I will help you in trying to make it as easy as possible for yourselves. If you're having trouble, if you have information on 2 separate tables, I can provide tools to combine that with a click of a button, do all the work for you, and send it over to me. I provide anonymizers for people such as Age UK, because they've got loads of data, and it's like, oh, how have you turned this anonymous? I'll develop something, send it over to you. You put it in the table, you press this button, it'll do it, it's good to go to me. I want to make it easy for you all.
I can only praise Joe very much for all the help that he gives, because it's 2 of my staff that send it. And what we've done now is we've reached an agreement, we send it by the 5th of each month, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I'd say about the 8th.
Sorry.
Yeah, I put 8th there. I can't remember what I said to you last time. I might have said 5th last time, not gonna lie. But yeah, around the 8th gives me enough time to update the dashboard in time for the Mental Health Alliance meeting that month. You might miss that deadline, and we'll just be able to say on the dashboard as well, this month these organisations didn't get a chance to contribute, but next month we're hoping to have the latest information. Again, it's not like, no one's going to come shout at you having missed a deadline. It's just understanding you're all very busy. What we can contribute is fantastic.
And if you don't have a spreadsheet at all at the moment, Joe will send you one with the headings on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you send me an example of that, and I'll include it with, and obviously your email address and what have you. And then people can just get in touch directly.
Consider your job getting very busy.
Yeah.
Keep you occupied somehow, yeah.
I just think it's, like say, it's so massively important. I contacted for a bid earlier in the year. Now I'm wondering whether I should divulge this. The Public Health Intelligence Team. Now, I didn't know, Tracy put me onto them, I didn't even know they existed, so presumably this is all kind of interlinked.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So, like say, the data's there, but if you don't know, you don't know, and it's massively
There are
important.
3 or 4 different data sets. I mean, there's also Coalfields Regen data set, and then there's health data set, there's the local authority data sets, and it's kind of how those are used to best effect. But it just felt that at the Mental Health Alliance, if the voluntary sector wasn't in on that dashboard, we were really doing ourselves a disservice.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any other questions for Joe?
I was just going to ask, is there any plans to link in with like long-term health conditions? Because obviously if you're supporting lots of people for mental health, is that attached to long-term health conditions as well, such as stroke and cancer and diabetes and all those things? Because would that not help the biddings, especially around those long-term health conditions, because the voluntary sectors are plugging gaps for a lot of other services as well?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, the population health survey, is anyone familiar with that being released?
That was my last slide, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic, yeah. So that got released a couple of weeks ago. The kind of results of it, which talked a lot about the crossover between people with mental health conditions and long-term health conditions as well. And I'm hoping to get their data set as well and see what I can pick up from that as well. Read into all this.
Do you have data on?
Oh, sorry, no, not you.
Have you got data on alcohol and substance misuse?
No, that's a little bit outside my usual remit.
Right. I wondered if that'd be a separate report.
No, our data is valid for it. It's mental health intervention beyond. It's alright, but our data is useful.
Yeah.
Our data is very useful.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be other data sets that look at specifics.
Yeah.
To me, the one commonality is the mental health side of it.
like
It's
massive
just-
overlap.
It's kind of, I mean, it could be overly complicated. We've tried to make it as simple as possible so that any organisation can submit.
It's like anything else, isn't it? It's knowing where that information is, even if you have to cross-reference 3 or 4 different data sets. If that's going to help your funding bid, then you're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that they're there and how to get hold of them and who to contact. So that, I mean, I feel like this has been really helpful.
And I think the voluntary sector doesn't do enough with the public sector experts, because we can never be that in terms of things like if we were doing a funding bid which was quite wide in partnership, how can we give that proof? And I think that's the thing Wakefield's kind of not done enough of. And sometimes it's kind of positively asking the questions and saying, couldn't we do this? Because actually it's in everybody's interest to bring more funding in.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Do you know, I got 3 times yesterday. I got applauded for how I peel an onion. So,
That's how you feel it.
well, funny enough, I've got one in my bag. I was having to go for an encore.
Demonstration time.
No, I do we've been doing some Let's Get Cooking stuff for half, and I call it the Terry's chocolate orange method of peeling an onion. So basically you just like chop one end off, so it's safe, and you put it on. This is with children. And then you kind of slice down the lines that are already there, and then you turn it around and peel the hairy end off, and it all just opens up like a Terry's chocolate orange. And I got applauded for it, so I was just like, and then we made biryani, and it was a lot. So I don't know how to put that back in there now. But thank you to both Julia and Joe. And what I'd really like from people, hopefully, well, Alice at Nova is in the process of creating like if you've been on a Nova sort of training course, you probably have had their follow-up feedback link. It's just a Google Doc. So Alice is in the process of creating one for these meetings as well, which I hope you'll all take a moment to do. I don't know if it'll be ready for this one, but so yeah, obviously I've been trying to bring speakers in that I feel are sort of helpful and informative, but I'd really love either on that form or by email when I do the follow-up, if you think there are other organisations, other people, other departments that you've come across that you feel would benefit us all, then please let me know, and I will happily invite people along. Equally, if you feel that too much of the meeting is taken up by speakers, no offence to you two, then let me know and we can have one speaker per session if you want more time for networking. So really fluid, these meetings still. It's still in the kind of first year of being in this format, so open to all suggestions. So the next meeting we are going to go round now, so I'm not going to that slide. So if anybody would like now to talk about boards that they're on, projects that they've got going on, what you can offer, what you need, then we have got about 15 minutes to go around the room. So yeah, kind of a minute, I would say, if you've got something to ask or give or say. So we'll start this end this time.
Well, does anybody know Das Doula? Right. I have got, hopefully Joanne's going to join me, I have got a thing in the pipeline with Daz. I've been wanting to do it for a lot of years, and it's going to be a lived experience group, and I'm wanting to open it for women only. I mean, we've got a Andy's Man Club, we've got Man Matters, but I want to open it for women only, that have survived rape, sexual abuse, domestic violence, a place where they can just go, a group, to talk, because I've lived all them in my past, and I've done all counselling and everything else. I have personality disorder, and I've self-harmed, I've done all rigmarole. I get sent to all these different places. It's textbook. You're like a revolving door. Patient, they shoot you to one place. No, we can't have you. We're primary care, you need secondary care, blah, de, blah, de, blah, you know. So it's like...
It's not working, is it?
No. System's screwed. I'm 56 years old. I don't want that. And there's a lot of people that out there that want just somebody else to talk to, so you can share each other's distraction works for me. And having personality disorder, I don't like to be Teresa. I like to be T. When I'm T, I can rule world. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we need, is somewhere for women just to go and to talk.
Well, T's been attending Care to Talk. We've been established here 6 years, and you'd be surprised at how many people have said to me, never heard of you, never heard of you. And that's deliberate. We do promote, but we don't promote constantly, because what we offer is person-centred care focus. So our group on a Friday is very personal, and I've always said that I will not have a room full of 30 people just talking. So I limit the numbers, and T will tell you it's very personal, isn't it? And it always has been. People are greeted at the door, people are greeted at the door when they go. Have a nice weekend, how's your week been? How are you doing? It's very, and it's working, isn't it? It's working for us. You know, our numbers are going up slowly, gradually, and we're a strong advocate of that, and getting out. We have day trips, you know, we do things at art sessions, we have speakers in as well.
Yes, speakers, yeah.
So I think T's building on that, but taking it a different avenue, specific to the experience that she's got.
And where will that be, T?
Well, at minute, I've just moved back over to Emsworth. Well, I'm from South Kirby, but it is a really deprived area of there, and I'm from that area, and that's where my abuse and everything started. But hopefully we're going to run it in community centre. Now I go to Warm Space, and I talk to counsellors in there, and they are willing to give us a room, and they're also willing to give us a room to extend Care to Talk
so we
in
can
there
do
as well.
An evening group, which we've not got at the moment, and we find that we've got a few of our members that used to come that can't come anymore because it's Friday morning and they're working.
Yeah. So sorry, that's a community centre.
That used to be John Trickett's office in Emsworth.
Emsworth.
Yeah. So it's a central to Hemsworth, innit? So it is a good. I'm just waiting for Daz. I've got my constitution wrote up. I jotted it all down one day in just a little notebook like this, and he says, let me take a photo of it, T. Because I got to smash and all that lot with him. I've known him years. I call him brother and he calls me sister. I love him. But I jotted it all down, and he says, let me get it wrote up for you. So when I see him again.
So would you like us to, I'll take your email addresses, I didn't catch you on your way in. Would you like us to keep in touch and find out when this starts? Will they contact us? What would you like us to do? Would you like us to just signpost people to it if we know women in the area that would benefit from the service?
Yeah, well, I think there'll be plenty over that area.
You know Julie from Bless?
No, but I talked to Helen, who
Yeah.
runs Food Bank, and she says she gets loads of women coming in there saying, we need something. And I went to Carol Whitehead, she runs, she's just started running a place in Ping, a pub in Fitzy. She's just started running one
There's
space in
William
there.
Centre as well, yeah.
Yeah, and she says the woman that runs that,
Yeah.
she says they're gonna get,
Oh,
they're
you're
gonna
busy.
let me run it in there as well.
Thank you.
So,
So thank you for that. I will also put you in touch. I'll put you in touch with Julie.
And
Also-
the bag fairies as well.
The bag fairies.
Yeah,
And
Dawn.
also, so if you know Dawn, but Jim
I don't know
Leyland.
her.
Well, I was going to do Dawn is the obvious one as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
So there is some work being planned in that area, in the South
There
Kirby
is.
area.
Well, they've started the meetings because
Yes.
I've been to the Airedale one and yeah.
I missed you then. I went to South Kirby. So yeah, so we'll I'll pop you in an email with some other connections too.
yeah, thank you.
for that.
Have you put that on? Yeah.
I know you, don't I?
Yeah.
Anything to add other than what you've already spoken about?
Very, very briefly, is everyone aware, I didn't find out yesterday, about the Book of Care? Book of Cope thing?
Ali's doing that. I've shared a book of code. I've seen something on Twitter, well, not Twitter, on X.
Yeah.
Book of Code.
Yeah, it's
Book of Code.
it's sourcing ideas of how people cope with mental health difficulties from people with lived experience. Anyone can contribute it. I can forward you the information I came across yesterday to circulate around, but it's just, yeah, that's just it. People trying to create a book where people who've gone through mental health issues can say, this is how I dealt with it, so that other people can kind of learn from that. Okay.
Thank you. We're currently running a project in Fawns Park. It's going to be every Thursday up until the end of August at least. So it's sport and art in Parks Park. Starts at 10:30, goes until about 2 o'clock. At the minute we've been running like we've taken our own goalposts down and set up like a 5 or 7 aside pitch. At the same time there's like a creative arts group going on, so it'll be like landscape stenciling or whatever, check out materials down and everything. And then we all come together at the end and have a big game around us, which is super fun. So if you've got any clients or service users that are at a loose end, send them our way.
And again, best way to get in touch with you, email or Twitter?
Email,
Facebook?
Twitter, Facebook, Mirage, got his contact details.
Just anybody who's interested, just email me. It's Thorns Park for August every Thursday. But after the final session in August, we'll change venue, so we'll move around the district. And depending on the location we go to, we'll change up the events because you can't play football at, say for example, you know that. So we'll do different activities depending on where we are.
I have nothing to add.
I think you have said enough.
Yeah.
Just to say for those of you who don't know, Disability Sport Yorkshire works out of the Denhale Active Recreation Centre, Denhale Avenue. I think it's Flanshaw, very close to the city centre. And we have a number of groups who book the centre, and then we have our own groups that we develop and work with. So over the space of a week, we have a dementia group, we have groups for people with autism, burlesque dance, table tennis, bowls, majorette groups, social prescribing groups. We have 2, tots football, wheelchair rugby, junior football, etc. So if any of you are sort of interested in doing perhaps a short sort of 2-3 weeks of physical activity, we've got all the equipment and more, and we'd be very happy to work with you. And we'd also be very happy for you to come to the centre if you wanted to bring a group along and try out different activities.
Brilliant.
So do you know what, I'm just going to quickly talk about gas. So the Man Matters project celebrated its first year anniversary a few weeks ago. It had a very successful first year with a lot of men being helped across district, and that, but the intention was to scale up activity So it's just a safe space for them to come and talk. What then happens is then over time they open up about different issues, then we can start helping with different issues. And also it's over the next year there's going to be a large focus on male victims of sexual violence actually. So that's gassed. Reflections Yorkshire, so just what we do, so residential and daycare treatment. To access a daycare, actually, the way to do it is if males go to Man Matters, our guys are there, so we can basically then do drug and alcohol support based on people's need, basically. If anyone needs drug and alcohol support across the district, so if you think there's a place where we can put up a group or anything, we can do that. We've got people who we can send down to set up a group, so just get in touch with me, that's not a problem. We're always open to ideas on that one. And then with the early intervention stuff, we've got a lot of cohorts to work with in the new academic year, which is really good. Because this is brilliant. It's like we've got our guys well, and we've created volunteering and employment opportunities for them through the youth work, and it's just going really well. So yeah, we've got a lot in the pipeline. If you want to work with us on that, more than welcome. But yeah, we're doing various programs that we deliver at different schools and colleges. But yeah, just get in touch with me if you want to know anything about it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to leave in a few minutes. I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
I know Lee, but where does he actually run Man Matters?
So the venue has actually changed. There was Wakefield Central, South Hemsworth, and another Wakefield Central. So Monday night was Wakefield Central. Wednesday was South Hemsworth. And then South Hemsworth. And then Friday was Wakefield Central again in the afternoon.
I think we've got a building in Airedale now, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically we've had to change the venues.
So it's South Hemsworth.
Yeah, if you want, I can leave you a card.
We've got some cards, because we hand them out to men that come here, you see.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know where venues were.
Well, this is it. They've literally moved, so I don't know exactly where they are right now.
Can I leave you two to email? So
Yeah.
your emails will be in the follow-up. Is that all right? Or you
Yeah.
can take, actually, if anybody wants to take a photo of this before they leave, because I can't
Thank
guarantee
you.
the follow-up will be in the next 7 days or anything. So feel free to take a photo of this before you go. Do you want to take a photo?
Please. I need to go, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I'm just conscious of getting around everybody.
So we're not repeating the same.
Yeah.
From the same team.
Yeah.
So just promoting that the Wakefield Community Enablement Team, we're a brand new service that are being mobilised in Wakefield, and we'll be supporting people, working with people 16 plus. And the remit for the service will be to reduce hospital admissions, working with people with complex mental health, reducing loss of tenancy or homelessness, although we're not specifically going to be working as housing workers, but obviously there are a number of barriers for people in terms of their tenancy and retaining that, and supporting people kind of reducing reoffending, but it is people with complex mental health needs. We've got a hospital link worker who's already at Pinderfield in the complex needs team, who's identifying a number of people already from there to refer to the service, and also linking in with Wakefield Safe Space. But we're aiming for referrals to be open at the end of August potentially, so obviously I will email out everybody information afterwards with a link to the website, and there'll be information on there. And I am coming out to different teams and meeting with Rachel Hale. We'll be going out to the Swift team. So yeah, if anybody wants to give me a ring just to discuss whether or not I feel that's appropriate referral pathway for their service, then please do that. I'm aiming to kind of come out more into the community and find out what everybody is doing. But yeah, please give me a ring for any more information about that.
Lovely, thank you.
So I work for Wakefield Safe Space, and the new development is my job, which is a daytime worker to try and support the crisis service that goes on in the evening, which we take referrals for from 6 o'clock. I do have some leaflets about the evening service with me if anybody wants them. but I suppose what we're trying to develop is the links between what happens on an evening and all the daytime services that are going on. So I'm really kind of developing links with lots of different organisations and trying to maybe present to groups, maybe present to teams as well to try and increase understanding and awareness, doing one-to-ones with people who refer in or who different workers might refer in, so that I can do initial referrals, maybe do introductions to the building, give lots of information, reassurance, so that when somebody's ringing up on an evening in crisis, it's not cold. There's already a relationship that has developed. So those are the kind of things that we're starting to look at, trying to improve and increase. And I think the best thing is if anybody thinks that there's a group that I could come to and present, please email me. If there's anybody that they feel, actually I work with this person, they'd really benefit from an evening crisis service, but they're going to be too anxious to make that initial call on a night, please email me and we can sort something out and work in a very person-centred way to try and see what we can do.
Okay, two things from West Yorkshire, because I've got that hat on. First of all, some films about living with lived experience, which have been done through 7 different charities across West Yorkshire, were launched 2 weeks ago. There's evaluation by the University of Leeds alongside that, and they split into kind of generic headings. They were designed for training, induction, catalyst for conversation in the voluntary sector, but also in the public sector. They're well worth a look at. I can send the link through to you, Paul, and you can send the document out.
Great, thank you.
The second thing from a West Yorkshire point of view, creative health is beginning to get quite a lot of traction. What's creative health? It's helping people's well-being through the arts in the widest sense, the creative arts. So it could be poetry, it could be spoken word, it could be painting, it could be anything, drama, whatever. And lots of us do little bits of that. We might do some music or something like that. Health is now picking up on that, the NHS. We now have, for Yorkshire and the North East, a lead person within health. So there is quite an active, because obviously Wakefield is a kind of cultural district. We didn't get Year of Culture for next year, but we've got our year coming up. It all ties into that, and there is a steering group. If you want any information about it, I'm on that. So, you know, or if you're doing anything to do with that. So an example at the moment is the group being done by Health Watch, which is using Tony Wade as an artist. Rachel's obviously involved in that, which is around the literature that goes out to people about their NHS appointments, which, you know, typically the envelope gets binned because you can't read it, or it's brown envelope, or so it's actually going to have some artist images on there, following on from some work in Calderdale and Kirklees. So those are the 2 West Yorkshire things. There's lots of other stuff, but and then one I mentioned earlier on, but the Airedale newsletter. So that got off the ground. You know, an article in it. It's very specific to Airedale, but we also know within Airedale it's really hard to get word around. That will be published 4 times a year. Rachel Hale again is involved in it. But anybody that wants to get an article into it, there will be a timetable of getting stuff in, and we're hosting it within the local schools there, so I think it will get some traction. And I was talking about it getting out through the medical practices as well. And then the final thing is just a plug for Spectral People, finally. But Apple Tree Garden, if you don't know it already, in Agrig, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we had 245 people there last Wednesday. It did not feel at all busy. It's just a wonderful space where people can have the green environment, and it just helps them. Thank you.
Wonderful place, absolutely. Couldn't make it last week, but I was glad to see the pictures. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's just been a really good meet. Wish I brought a bigger piece of paper. Thank you for inviting me. I think sort of my biggest thing is I basically the community lead for the Prince of Wales Hospice, and I think sort of any opportunity to come and talk to any groups or anybody at all, just do a bit of myth busting discussions about who hospices actually support, so valuable for us. We, you know, I think primarily we support the whole of the 5 towns area, anybody over the age of 18, anybody with a life-limiting diagnosis. So this could be anything from strokes, dementia, heart failure, all these different things. But also we've changed our boundaries. It's really important that we reflect out all the really goodwill and the money. That's society. Stop talking. All the goodwill, we get supported so well by our community. We need to reflect that out. So we've got that commitment to provide for people who are isolated as well, those who are bereaved, carers as well. So we do, it's all on the website, but really, you know, would just, if anybody wanted to have a chat, be really grateful for that opportunity.
So I am one of the coordinators for the Stroke Recovery Service, and I am very aware that not a lot of people even have heard of the Stroke Recovery Service or what it involves. We provide information, advice and support to people who have been affected by stroke. So we initially get our referrals from either the hospitals or from the My Therapy services, but we do accept referrals from everywhere. So any other organisations, self-referrals, we accept them all. The criteria for the referral is as long as they're over 18, they have been affected by stroke. So it's not just the stroke survivor themselves, it's the carers as well. We do support carers in their own individual right. And they have some underlying needs that they want support with. We work with people to help them understand their stroke and reduce their risk factors, while also supporting them to rebuild their lives after stroke as well. The service has been going for around 14-15 years, so it's not a new service. It has been very present, but one of the recent changes that has just happened is we've been contracted to deliver the 6-month post-stroke reviews. And this is something that every stroke survivor should be offered after their stroke, and that is done in line obviously with the NHS and the SNAP system, which is the Stroke Sentinel, don't know the full acronym, but it's the Stroke Sentinel Data Programme, which is overseen by the Royal College of London, and it's where all the information is collated from the time somebody is in an ambulance right through to that 6-month post-stroke review that they have regarding their stroke needs. So it looks at what is needed to help with stroke recovery. So one of the other things that we're doing at the moment as well is we want to raise awareness of stroke. There is a big stigma attached to the fact that stroke only happens to the elderly, and it doesn't. Especially in Wakefield, we do have a big caseload of working age stroke survivors. So we want to get out there and raise that awareness of stroke, not just of our service. And we are working in partnership with the Recovery College, and we're delivering a stroke awareness session on the 27th of September, 10 while 12 at Pontefract Library. Obviously, if people are not aware of the Recovery College, you sign up online on the Recovery College. But that is free, and that looks, it's not just for people who have had strokes or are supporting people with stroke, it's for anybody, any health professional, any groups that are working or may come across, or someone who just wants to have more of an understanding of stroke and the risk factors associated with stroke. So we're delivering that free with the Recovery College, just to raise that awareness as well.
Great stuff, thank you very much. A lot going on. Yeah. Do you need to, yeah, have you got anything quickly to?
Just, I don't know whether you're aware of the long-term health conditions and the work that Kirsty Jowett does. I was just thinking there's a Stronger Together group of people with lived experience, and it is all about people with long-term health conditions, lived experience. There's level 1, 2 courses, and then level 3 course brings people together to meet to support each other. But it helps you navigate through the NHS, social services, helps you to understand from other people what battles people have gone through themselves. And it gives you a skill in being able to put your perspective across rather than being antagonistic, perhaps. Do you know what I mean? When you're so frustrated when you're in it, it helps you navigate it a bit more professional to get a better outcome for yourself. But it also later gives you the opportunity to speak to professionals so that they learn and change their practices, and if you can just change one professional so that they don't impact somebody negatively like you had, it's worthwhile doing. So that's a really good connection. I'm not sure whether you're aware of it, but it's not me, it's Tracy Lowe's is probably the connection, but I can give you her other contact after.
I was going to say, when I do the, do you want to take a quick photo of that? If anybody wants to take a quick photo. Yeah, when I do the follow-up, please feel free to hit reply all with any links or anything that you want everybody to be aware of. That will be quite useful. So thank you for coming. Oh,
That's all.
Definitely caught that on video. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, right, let us.
Oh, just a really quick overview then of what we do, well what I do, because I am the coordinator in community education for the whole of West Yorkshire. I come out and I deliver free one-off workshops covering a range of topics, Red Cross, yeah. Mainly first aid, that's predominantly what we do, that's what we've been doing for 150 years, but it's free, so it's all about those that, have got high need but low resource. It's about making people feel more confident, more willing and able to deliver first aid, to help somebody, I should say, that's hurt themselves without having to go and pay for that full qualification. We also teach some wellbeing workshops. We've got a coping with challenges workshop for young people, an adapt and recover from adversity for our adult groups. We've got a tackling loneliness workshop, but that's just been redeveloped at the moment to become supporting connections. And we've got an empathy and migration workshop as well, which is all about showing as much empathy as we possibly can to anyone who comes and lives in the UK. Yeah, and that's what I do. So you can contact me through my email address, or I do have my little cards here with my QR code on as well. But just, I come to you, you don't need to come to me, I come to you and visit your group. I'd love to do that. So, yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ross?
The months to change the way they approach our work. So all the time I work with Wakefield Sector, and previously we had a support worker and a technician. The support worker went out and did support work, the technician went out and did equipment to get people. Now I've put the two into one job, so I have two community support workers. So basically when one off and I leave, that can cover. So there's always somebody there, rather than having gaps in service. So it's been quite interesting because I found this little guy do the work well, and I suppose we're now seeing a lot more. We're now having a lot more emotional support. So I was stuck in somebody knowledge about a 93-year-old lady's shelter accommodation last week. The challenge because she's not seen everything all week. She's deafblind, so there's a lot more of although we still do equipment and although we still take people to the medical appointments and the shopping and that sort of thing, but there's a lot more emotional support going on just now. People that are isolated and are unable to engage their own peers just because they're isolated. Going forward, I'm really hoping, I think the basis of Wakefield Sector is predominantly for older people, equipment and support work, particularly when they become really vulnerable. Going forward, I want to kind of focus not change the focus, but start working with children and people. And I really want to, I've already had discussions with the teachers at the rookies, the Catholic Academy, and trying to establish some sort of young team, we'll call it that, and they try and do some activities with them. So at the moment we're talking about 1 to 10, just to see how it holds to start off with, and then try and get more funding in, and try and build upon that work going forward. So I think for us, because of COVID-19, the level of engagement, and I'd probably say for a lot of charities, has dropped, and to the same for council services and the NHS and everything, has dropped quite substantially. We are suffering from that level of engagement, because I joined last November. I'm still quite new in the face of things, but I attribute a lot of this down to the volume that there's a lack of access to all buildings are grade 2 listed buildings. You've got both instances, so you have to step into the building. There's a lack of parking, so there's a lot going on in the background. Anything like should we move, should we stay, where are we going next, and there's all that sort of thing going on in the background. It's been interesting,
Yes.
I think Paul knows a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to
Thank
follow,
you.
but
It sounds like actually it might be worth having a further conversation.
Sorry, I missed that. I did have
I think we're getting into a period where we're becoming a bit more structured. We're still making mistakes, because the two community support workers are new. They started in April and May. We're throwing the deep end every day to try and pick up things and move forward with things. So, but we are still getting like a rhythm, getting things done. So I good. Better now than it was a month ago. Still going forward to work with 200 people and get more funding and kind of have a more good. What I did was when I built the community support work, when I changed the job, community support workers, I want to employ more of them in different areas like IEG, information about engaging children and young people. So although we're still community support workers, but I'm working in those different areas. If I can build that team, then that will work for me going forward. That was the whole point of me changing the way we do things, changing our model of work.
Yeah. Bring it into this centre. Well done. Maddie.
Deep breath. So, self-defence provider, unique self-defence provider, in that we don't encourage combat, so we teach breakaway and disengagement as a last resort. We take people from a verbal to a rape situation. Full day course. In that day we talk about the law, we teach about the importance of reporting, we do practical, we talk about behaviour, de-escalation, so much in a day. Everyone's welcome. We always deliver free as a CIC, whether we've got funding or not. We always deliver one course per month. We're currently funded by Tracy Braben and the West Yorkshire Mayor through the Safe Communities Fund. Our next course is at the Wakefield Theatre. It's a Tuesday, because we tend to only be able to deliver on weekends, with it being a school day, 9 till 3 course. So again, we're always looking for venues, and we're always looking for communities that want us. We've got funding. Like I say, once a month we want to be in a different location within the area. We've got Castleford Tigers, which is not too far away, in September. I think we're going WI, location at Newmiller Dam in October. We've got funding continuing after that from Haribo. So again, it's for this local area. So if anyone does have a community, reach out to me, I've got the funding. We've also got the culture grant coming up. One of the things that we do teach, and I'm very aware, is that women and girls are going to war. We literally are picking up arms. It's all over TikTok, it's all over socials, and we are carrying weapons. We are putting ourselves more at risk by doing that. So that's a big impact of our course, and like to discourage that.
How much space do you need?
I've taught in this room, and we managed. So a room this size, if it's a little bit better fun, if it's a sports hall or a community centre. But this room, I've been in here, I've taught with the police as well. So we're working with early intervention, and the carrying of weapons is a massive thing. I do sit on the Safer Together Partnership Board, and it's coming up all the time about weapons. So, and it's about the early prevention. So we welcome all. We are very pink. So we do aim at women as a vulnerable sector, but we welcome anyone. We get fathers bringing daughters, we get couples coming, friends, whatever.
Is
But
it
one of
throughout the district?
It is throughout the district. So if you follow us on socials, we're literally uploading where we're going to be and at what location. And we invite
I was going to say, you two need to have a conversation.
I was going to say, can I take some of your flyers, because I've said we're a 1-day course and then people fall off the edge of the cliff. But we want them to, what happens is we get people in with lived experience like yourself. I share my stories, people open up and we open up, and it's that providing that safe space to talk about things without fear of judgment, stigma, and talk about how we react. Our bodies change when we've experienced trauma. So it's how we present ourselves, things that might be triggering. We talk about all that and get to understand it. So we get women that have known each other 30 years and they tell something that happened in childhood. And it's like, you never told me that. Well, no, we don't, because we don't speak openly.
Because
So
you're taught not
you're
to
taught
speak
not
about
to.
it.
And as a child, I was a little girl told to shh.
Yeah.
And the thing that we do teach on Blossom is the importance of the voice, and the one word that is so impactful, and that's the word no. So it's self-defense as a mechanism to get people involved,
Very
but it
empowering,
is so much more. So we've just got the culture grant, so we're going to do a little bit of it's a 4-month session, so we've got one course per month for 4 months. It's interactive. We get a t-shirt, which is play. We're going to work with art pens, so we're going to work on some blocking and the knife defence. I am a martial artist, I have been all my life, but I'm a realist. It does not work on the streets, which is why we don't teach it in Blossom. But it's more of a thought-provoking workshop where we'll use the pens, we'll end up absolutely splattered in art pens, and we will have something to take home as a memory. We're then going to do some empowerment words and things if we've got time, so that people have got that keepsake. So hopefully it'll generate conversation. What's your t-shirt all about? Well, actually, it's my remembrance that the only technique that you can defend against a knife is to run. Yeah. So that's what that's about. That's my, and one, not for me, but I am getting involved because we open our training to everybody. And Ed and IMAS, so Yorkshire Sport and IMAS, are running a workshop. It's 6 till 8 at Light Waves on the 16th of August. And it's for basically mixed ability. It's getting everybody into sport.
Oh, so do you know about that one, Judith?
No.
All right.
You do now.
I'd like to
I'm
just
gonna
have
go
a
Thanks very much.
I'll get
Thank you.
Stand with me and we'll hook up. But I want to refer people to your new group.
Yeah.
But I do work with dads through the nerve voices, so I can have that conversation with them and yourself.
Amy.
Last but not least.
We're going to have to look at the timings of these, aren't we?
Yeah, so I'll try and be quick because I know everybody's eager to start networking and have a quick chat before everybody needs to disappear. So, Featherstone Rovers Foundation, we're the registered charity affiliated to the Professional Rugby League Club. We do loads of activities working in the community. We've got coffee mornings to tackle isolation, we've got lunch clubs, we've got a dance academy, we've got men's mental health workshops and women. We run all sorts. I think I just wanted to focus today, my little talk, on the success of joining this group and just how networking can really help us all to work together, which is really important. We're all small teams, we're all under-resourced, so where we can link in. So a great example is Judith. We're working together to deliver Disability Sport Yorkshire's Sporting Futures programme. So they've taken over Featherstone Rovers on a Thursday morning to deliver a work experience-based programme with people with disabilities or learning disabilities. So they get to experience what it's like to work in a professional rugby league club and also learn other more theory-based things around customer service, first aid. So it's been really, really good to link up with another organisation. It's been great for some of our participants that also attend other things like our Learning Disability Rugby League team, but also to get some new people involved and introduced to Featherstone. So it's been working really well. I hope Christina's been feeding back Judith, but it's been working really well. We've also linked up with Art House Wakefield, which feeds into the creative arts starting to be recognised in health,
to run a maternal journal session. So she's taken over.
That's re-emerge. That's we're involved in that too.
Oh, right, yeah. So we run a parent and toddler group twice a week, and maternal journal's taken over one of our sessions, and it's been really, really good to just provide some childcare so that parents, you know, those of you that have children are, you kind of go through a bit of, you don't know if you've lost yourself because everything's about your baby, nobody takes any interest in you anymore, so it's about enjoying some arts and looking at reflection. And
there is another training course coming up. If anybody's interested in training to be a maternal journalist lead, then it's coming up soon. So
Diane sent me she sent me rough dates yesterday. So
and I've got somebody from Fitzwilliam, but anybody, honestly, we can fill 20 places, and I think we've got about 15 at the moment.
Oh, right.
So it's
Where would we find that?
It's online. Again, if you contact me, I can link you up with Diane, because we're the two. Well, she's the project manager, but Re-emerge is funded through the Mental Health Alliance now, we're now doing journaling, for instance, because I call it just journaling, in the neonatal unit in Pinderfields. So parents who go there because their children have been born very early, maybe some of them don't survive, sadly, but they've got lots of time on their hands, and actually it's working really well. So we're trying to think about it really creatively, because journaling is just a way of really good
getting it out, isn't it?
Yeah, so just success stories, okay. And Prince Wales Hospice, hopefully we'll be working with you to host a wellbeing group at Featherstone as well. So if anybody's wanting to link up, just another thing to mention for stroke, and it might help things about raising awareness. One of our players who's only 30, actually expert, you're probably aware of it.
I've heard.
So he's expert, he suffered a stroke about 2 weeks ago, and he doesn't know if he can play again, and it's a result of head trauma from playing rugby league. So I don't know if there's anything you want to do on that. And then finally from me, we've also been successful with a cultural grant from Wakefield. So we're going to be running a Pit to the Pitch project to celebrate the club's history and the town of Featherstone's history, and how a group of rugby league players who were minors put Featherstone on the map. So if anybody would like to join us, we're holding an event on the 23rd of September. Featherstone take on Widnes Vikings at the Millennium Stadium, and we're hosting some cultural activities on that day. So if anybody would like to come along and cheer on the Mighty Rose, as well as celebrating our history, then please do get in touch.
Amazing. Is that on your website, Amy?
It'll be on all our socials, but yeah, if anybody wants to drop me an email, there'll be, I can give you more information.
Brilliant. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Right, we're horribly over time, I do apologise.
There's so much in these meetings.
There is,
and that
there
shows
is.
the importance of them.
It does. Just to really wrap up, obviously you've hopefully seen, but I'll confirm it's on Eventbrite already, so the next date and location. Has everybody seen the Prosper /Nova Core funding grant?
And UK social,
the level, yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go have a look at the Nova website in the funding section, because there's quite a bit. They don't put everything on the socials, so it's worth just a few little odds and sods. Until I looked at it to do this follow up, I didn't
One's up to
even know.
15k, the other one's up to 20k, so there's quite
Yeah,
a bit of money.
there's
And it covers
decent,
core funding.
absolute decent money. Healthy and sustainable communities. If you are doing anything in the South Kirby region, or planning to do anything in the South Kirby region, drop me an email. I will already put you in touch with Jim Leyland anyway.
And he's looking to do the Central Wakefield one. They've not had much take up, and they're trying to get that.
Yeah, and there's other areas to come, isn't there? So yeah, if you're doing anything in particularly deprived areas, let us know. Menopause and me, 10 of us have just recently completed our I don't know what you call it, practitioner coaching qualification through Nova. So we're right across the district, so we are looking to put on at least 2 5 to 6 week sessions, and they're going to cover kind of the science bit, as well as, again, it's going to be kind of peer support, bit of exercise. It's going to be fun and inclusive. So I'm one of those. If you're interested in the list, I can get you the list of all of us, because hopefully there'll be one near to your area. And yes, if you haven't already seen it, at 12 o'clock on the Wakefield Council's Facebook page, they're going live with the results of the adult population health survey that Joe alluded to, that was published a couple of weeks ago. But it's also now being updated within the Joint Strategic JSNA. Thank you. Document. So just a whistle stop of kind of stuff that I needed to update you on. Again, I'll send them, there's only 3 slides, so I'll send them through with the follow-up and everybody's email addresses. So thank you. Apologies for the overrun, and thank you for coming. See you next time.
Thank you.
Let me just, sorry. Do you mind just thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.